The Mosaic of Memories. Lena trudged through the rain-slicked streets of the old town, her shoulders hunched against the drizzle. It was her 30th birthday, and she felt as grey as the clouds above. Another year has gone by, and what did she have to show for it? A dead-end job, a string of failed relationships, and a growing sense that life was passing her by. As she turned a corner, a flash of light caught her eye. There, nestled between a bookshop and a cafe, was an antique store she'd never noticed. Its window display was a clutter of oddities, but one item stood out, a large, ornate mirror with an unusual frame. Intrigued, Lena pushed open the door, a tiny bell announcing her entrance. The shop was empty, except for an elderly man dozing behind the counter. She made her way to the mirror, drawn by an inexplicable pull. As she stood before it, Lena frowned. The surface was unlike any mirror she'd seen, a patchwork of triangular shards, some clear, others tinted or textured. She leaned closer, expecting to see a fragmented reflection of herself. Instead, she gasped. Staring back at her was a face composed entirely of metallic fragments. Its eyes, a striking blue, seemed alive with an inner light. The lips, a vibrant red, parted as if about to speak. Lena blinked hard, sure she must be imagining things. But when she looked again, the face was still there, watching her with an expression of infinite wisdom and compassion. Suddenly, the triangular pieces shifted and rearranged, like a kaleidoscope coming to life. In their dance of light and shadow, Lena saw glimpses of her own life, past, present, and possible futures. There was her 5th birthday party, her father's booming laugh as she blew out the candles. The day she graduated college was full of hope and ambition. Her first heartbreak, tears streaming down her face as she packed her things. But there were also moments she didn't recognize. She was in a sun-drenched studio with a paintbrush in hand. She was standing at an altar, beaming at a faceless partner. She was cradling a newborn, her eyes filled with wonder and love. As the images flowed, Lena began to understand. Each fragment held a piece of her story, the triumphs and failures, the joys and sorrows that had shaped her. In their totality, they created something beautiful and unique. The kaleidoscope slowed, and Lena looked at her reflection again. But now, she saw herself differently. The lines of worry around her eyes spoke of lessons learned. The quirk of her lips hinted at untold stories. Her eyes shone with potential waiting to be realized. Quite a mirror, isn't it? The old shopkeeper's voice startled her. He had appeared silently at her elbow, his eyes twinkling. What is it? Lena asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The old man smiled. It shows us as we truly are, not just our surface, but the sum of our experiences and the possibilities that lie within us. We are all mosaics, my dear, beautiful, complex, and ever-changing. Lena nodded slowly, understanding dawning. How much for the mirror? She asked. The shopkeeper shook his head. It's not for sale. But it seems you've already received its gift. He patted her arm gently. Happy birthday, Lena. Your story is far from over. Bewildered, Lena turned to the mirror, now showing only her regular reflection. She blinked, wondering if she had imagined the whole thing. But as she left the shop, she felt lighter, energized. The rain had stopped, and rays of sunlight were breaking through the clouds. Lena took a deep breath, feeling like she was waking from a long sleep. For the first time in years, she felt excited about the future. As she walked home, ideas began to bubble up, that art class she'd always wanted to take, the novel she'd been meaning to write, the trip she'd been dreaming of. Each possibility glimmered like a shard of mirror, waiting to be arranged into the mosaic of her life. Lena smiled, quickening her pace. She had a lot of living to do, and she couldn't wait to see what picture it would create.